You are the center. Meditation is the way through, and presence is the path, the place where transformation begins. You cannot change your life from the mind of the one trying to survive it. Meditation is the practice of returning without attachment. It's the breath between awareness and action. Hey, it's Veronica. This episode is about what happens when you stop trying to fix what was never broken and begin to return to what's always been whole. It's about presence, true presence, and how meditation isn't something you do, it's how you come home. If you've ever found yourself looping in thought, narrating your pain, or trying to explain your worth, this one is for you. We're going to explore what meditation really is, why ego leads from fear, and how returning to your body without a story is the path through. So before we begin, let's take a breath. Do it with me, as we always do, to come back to your center. Let's begin. You've probably heard it before. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Carl Jung. But what does it actually mean to become who you truly are? What does it take? Because there are times and moments, whether you're unraveling, awakening, or evolving, when you realize that keeping it together was never about control. It was always about connection. Connection to your mind, to your body, to the breath between awareness and action, to the truth that lives underneath the thoughts. Another quote I return to often is this one by John Kabat-Zinn. Wherever you go, there you are. I actually explored this idea in my previous episode, but it feels even more relevant here because you're always at the center of your experience. Your thoughts might drift, your emotions might rise, your nervous system might respond, but you are the one experiencing all of it. And the more you reconnect with your breath, with your body, with the space between your reactions, the clearer your internal compass becomes. Meditation is how we enter that space. It's not something we achieve, it's how we return again and again. The discipline of yoga begins now. Yoga Sutra 1.1. This sutra has nothing to do with poses. It's not asking you to do yoga. It has everything to do with presence. And presence doesn't happen later. It begins now. Not once you are calm, not once life feels clear, not when someone else validates you, but now. Because the truth is, you cannot change your life from the mind of the one trying to survive it. You cannot transform from fear, comparison, or performance. True transformation happens in the present moment because that's the only place yourself actually lives. Everything else, the doubt, the inner critic, the narrative of not enough, even the labels we give our wounded parts, can keep us stuck. Not because they're bad, but because they are not you. They are history, echoes, adaptations. And the more you try to skip steps, find hacks, or cut corners, the more you circle back to where you began. Not because you're broken, but because the part leading you was never the one who was meant to choose. While many people think of meditation as a separate practice, what I am inviting you into is a relationship with yourself, your breath, your mind, your energy, and your experience of the present moment. Meditation isn't about doing it perfectly. It's about returning again and again and again. Meditation helps you see the dance, and slowly, gently, it helps you step into it, awake, aware, and at home in yourself. Meditation is the practice of returning to the present moment without attachment. It is the breath between awareness and action. Meditation is the way through. We live in a culture that confuses bodies with stories. We try to nourish the soul with food. We try to regulate emotion with control. We try to explain away what simply needs to be witnessed. But when you slow down, here's what becomes clear. The body, your body, is birthed, it grows, it ages, it dies. It is of the earth and it must be nourished accordingly with rest, breath, water, movement, nutrients. When you feed your emotions instead of your tissues, the body gets confused. Survival says, feed the feeling. But truth says, feel it. Don't feed it. The body doesn't want your explanation. It wants your presence. Your body needs rest. It needs water. It needs sleep. It needs food, not for comfort, but for life. But here's what happens. Because when we live in survival, we start eating to soothe our emotions. We move or rest not based on what our bodies needs, but based on how we feel. We try to control our environment to protect a belief, not our body. And that's where the confusion begins. Because your subtle body, your energetic, emotional, mental self doesn't need food. It doesn't need fixing. It needs your awareness, your presence. Emotion isn't a problem. It is a messenger, and it doesn't speak in language. It speaks in charge. If you are in survival, your ego is what is dictating your every move. This isn't a metaphor. It is neurobiology and energetics. Ego is not protecting you. It's protecting the identity you created in fear. It attaches meaning to every sensation. It creates loops of thoughts to narrate the emotion, to keep you from feeling it. It thrives when you avoid discomfort, and it activates every time your sympathetic nervous system lights up. Fear is the currency of ego. Stillness is the doorway to the soul. So when you feel a sensation and immediately attach a story to it, pause. Your subtle body is not hungry, it's holding, and what it's holding needs to be witnessed, not narrated. Your soul doesn't fear death. Your soul doesn't panic. Your soul is the one who's been holding steady the entire time while your body responds and your ego narrates. And that's the piece we forget. It's not that the soul is lost when you feel stuck. It's the ego clinging to a story. And ego is incredibly resourceful, especially when survival is all it knows. So here is the truth. Ego feeds on fear, and fear is felt in the body. If your body is in survival, your ego is driving the experience. It attaches meaning to every sensation, it creates loops of thoughts to avoid discomfort, and it tells you stories to keep you from feeling it. But meditation, the practice of returning, intervenes. It doesn't cancel fear. It creates space between fear and action. It gives you a breath, a pause, and a choice. Stillness is how you hear the soul. Stillness is how you remember who's really speaking. So I'll end with a simple invitation. Stop narrating and start witnessing. The moment you start explaining your pain, you leave the body. The moment you start defending your reaction, you leave your breath. And the moment you start feeding the feeling, you reinforce the loop. But the body doesn't need a reason. It doesn't need a story, and it doesn't need language. The body knows how to release. It just needs your presence. Your body is the home of your experience, not the definition of yourself. Your thoughts are echoes of past survival, not declaration of your truth. Your ego is a narrator of fear, not the author of your becoming. So sit with what is, feel what moves, and feed your body, not the story. You are the center. Meditation is the way through, and presence is the path, the place where transformation begins. If this episode resonated with you, I invite you to come back to it whenever you forget that presence is your path. The return is always available. And if you're walking through a time where the mind feels loud or the body feels heavy, know this: you are not your thoughts. You are not your patterns. You are not what you've been told. You are the one who sees, the one who breathes, and the one who returns. And this is just the beginning, because if you are here, you're likely someone on a path of healing, self-discovery, spiritual seeking, or simply trying to answer the big question, who am I? And what's the point of all this? And maybe you're not new to growth. Maybe you've been trying to fix something, heal something, or figure out your purpose for a while. But what if the part of you trying to fix it wasn't the part meant to lead? What if the part of you that's been striving, overthinking, doubting, and clinging to identity was your ego, not your whole self? And what if slowing down, learning to observe your mind, learning to be in the body without narrating it, was the only way to find what you're truly looking for? Because here's what I've come to understand: we are not our bodies, we are not our thoughts, we are not our stories, but ego will do everything it can to make us believe that we are. Why? Because ego doesn't know stillness, it only knows survival. So in the next episode, I'm going to share something I haven't yet gone into detail, a teaching I call the alignment anchors. You cannot access truth if you don't pause long enough to see what's false. And the thought, the emotion, the reaction, it's only false when ego grabs the wheel and makes you believe that is all you are. So if today's episode stirred something in you, if you're ready to understand the deeper layers of your body, your mind, your story, your soul, meet me in the next episode, because your life doesn't change when you learn more. It changes when you remember who you are beneath what you've carried. Meditation is the way through, but the next step is seeing who's been leading you and who was meant to all along. Until next time, stay with yourself, stay curious, stay present. Thank you for being here with me today. I'll see you on the next one.